Friends, Donkey World here. This is my first ever guide for a game. I am going to be walking through how to create the best party at character creation for Wasteland 2. I just recently completed the game at Ranger difficulty and have played around a little bit more since then. And I wanted to share with you what I view as the ideal party if I had known everything I know now when starting this fantastic game. So, first, let's kind of lay the groundwork here while we wait for this to load. Skills are a big part of the game, and it's really important here to plan ahead. So I'm going to assume that everyone will finish the game in at least their low level 30s. The number of skill points that you'll earn per level are based on intelligence, anywhere between 2 and 5. So that means at level 30, you'll earn at least 60 skill points in the game, even if your intelligence is just garbage. And you'll start with 12 skill points, and you'll get another 20 from books and trinkets throughout the game. So that means even Mr. Dum Dum Ranger will earn 60 skill points from normal levels, 12 from starting, and 20 from items for a total of 92. Now, skills take 44 skill points to max level, so even a low int character can max 2 skills in the game. Conversely, someone with 10 intelligence who gains 5 skill points per level would be able to max 4 with that same logic. Now, this is a pretty rough guide, but will help us from overcommitting on skills at character creation. Next, we want to focus on only taking the best skills. Throughout the game, you'll recruit NPCs who already have points focused in a handful of skills, and you can't respect them. So to limit the number of wasted skill points from these new recruits, you'll want to limit your starting rangers to just what's necessary, and leave the more convenience-oriented skills to others. Finally, some skills are useful, but will only need to be taken to level 6 or 7, which reduces the skill point cost by half. So going over which skills are most useful. In the weapon skill category, you'll really want assault rifles. They're pretty much the best weapon in the game. You'll also want shotguns, probably one person with a shotgun. They're essentially very cheap AoE damage. Sniper rifles are also pretty useful just because of their range, and they have a very high base chance to hit from getting skill points. You'll see this has 35% here versus 28% from assault rifles. So you can use this for a character who's not necessarily as well geared for combat to still make them very effective. And then aside from that, on the melee side, you'll want to focus on blunt weapons and brawling. Energy weapons are useful against high armor targets, but really they will be used so minimally throughout the game that you can ignore them. Handguns are weak, heavy weapons are strong, but will eat up your ammo, and ammo is very, very costly in this game. Submachine guns are not super effective either. So alarm disarming, computer science, demolitions, lockpicking, and safe cracking will all want to be maxed by the end of the game. Field medic and surgeon are both very useful, and you'll want to start with them and get them ranked up kind of to the mid-level, but these are skills that I'm going to call half skills. You really don't need to take them all the way, because basically the really good medic packs that you need really high field medic for are not that much better than the ones you can get with just a medium level of field medic. And then finally, mechanical repair and toaster repair, you really don't need them. Toaster repair basically just gives you quest items, and mechanical repair for the most part only resets locks. General skills, these only have a few things that you really need. You'll want to take leadership and perception both as half skills. Leadership is great because it will reduce your followers' chance to ignore your orders in combat by 5% for each level. So you want to make sure that when you're playing the game, you get to choose the orders for your companions, because if you don't, they will do batshit crazy things and fuck up your life. So make sure you have enough leadership to reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I want you to do. Perception will help you find traps and other assorted knickknacks throughout the game, but you really don't need to take it that high. The ones you want to take really high in this are really just limited to weaponsmithing. Weaponsmithing you'll probably take up to level 8, so it's not quite a half skill, but you don't need to go all the way here. You want your weaponsmithing to put mods on your weapons to enhance their capabilities that much further, and more importantly, to reduce the chance of jamming on weapons to 0%. The rest of these you can get by without, really, for most of the game. Brute Force gives you access to areas that you can get to grenades for the most part. Bartering is nice because, unlike most games, you will be very short on money unless you're grinding enemies until the very end of the game. So bartering can be useful, but you don't need it. Animal Whispering, there are some cool animals that you can recruit for your party. You might want to take it for the buffs that they give you, but you don't need them. Hardass, Kissass, and Smartass are all talking skills that really you can get by without. They do help get through parts of the game more quickly, and then Outdoorsman will help you avoid random battles, and it gives you experience when you avoid these random battles. You really don't need it, it's just that it's very annoying if you keep running into random battles. So with all of this in mind, let's start making your ideal Wasteland 2 party. We'll start with the leader of this whole operation, who will have 10 intelligence and 6 charisma. So the reason that you have this high intelligence is to give you 5 skill points per level. The high charisma will give you bonus experience for everything, which creates a big compounding effect. So what you want to do with this character is take advantage of that by choosing skills you'll use frequently, which provide experience. So to that end, for this character, we'll start with Alarm Disarming, Demolitions, and Lockpick, which will provide a lot of opportunities for experience points for using these skills. We'll choose Sniper Rifles because that's a useful skill for somebody that's not heavily attribute focused for combat, and Leadership because this goes hand in hand with Charisma. You'll see that Charisma will increase your leadership radius for every single point in it, and Leadership is used to reduce the chance of followers ignoring your order by 5%. If you don't take Leadership, your followers will do batshit crazy things, screw up your life, and make you want to reload every single game. So make sure you take enough leadership points that that's not going to be an issue. It is essentially a half skill, which will allow you to max out your sniper, alarm disarming, demolitions, and lockpicking with this character. What we're going to do as far as attributes is increase awareness to 4, reduce coordination to 1, speed goes to 4, and strength goes to 2. The reason here is that we're trying to get our combat initiative to 11. There's basically 3 kind of breakpoints I look at for combat initiative, and they're not steadfast breakpoints, but 11, 14, and 17 will give you a pretty good idea of doing one of 3 certain things in battle. 11 means you're going to act about as frequently as any other character in combat, and you'll feel like you'll get a normal amount of actions. 14, you'll get some bonus actions about every 3 rounds. And with 17 or higher, you'll actually be getting a bonus action pretty much every round. So those are the 3 points I look at. I want a minimum of 11 combat initiative to make sure I can still do something in combat with this character. And I want to get to 7 action points as well, because that will enable a sniper, which we're focusing on with this character, to use both their starting and ending sniper rifle, which costs 7 action points for every shot you take with it. So the main reason that we took strength is because every point in speed, strength, and intelligence adds a quarter of an action point. So we could increase either our speed by 1 or our strength by 1 to get that additional action point. 1 extra point in speed isn't going to help a sniper very much with his combat speed. He's not going to be moving around that frequently. We can't increase intelligence anymore, so by going strength, we get those extra hit points, which will help especially earlier in the game. Now we're going to move on to renaming this person to Leadership Girl, taking a new snapshot. There we go, that's what we want, and then moving on to our next character. The next character is going to be our medic, which we want to be fast, and we want them to use shotguns. We want them to use shotguns because shotguns are a weapon that you're not always going to want to use in combat due to the spread of your bullets, but it does provide a really great AoE effect when you are able to use them. So in those times where it's not really applicable to shoot a shotgun, you can heal your characters instead. So we'll go shotguns here, field medic, surgeon, perception, and weaponsmithing. Remember, field medic, surgeon, and perception are all half skills, so we don't need a ton of intelligence. We are going to get up to 4 though, which will provide us enough skill points throughout the course of the game to get these to where we need them to be. As far as the other attributes, Like I said, we do really want to focus on speed here. This character has to be able to run around the battle quickly if needed to heal party members and to reposition for shotguns, which has the most important impact on repositioning out of pretty much all of the weapons in the game. Awareness goes to 5. Luck stays at 1 because I'm not a big fan of luck. It's pretty random, as it would imply. But getting to these certain breakpoints allows a few things. 1, a 14 combat initiative will allow this character to get those extra actions every 3 to 4 rounds in combat. 8 action points is a good sweet spot for shotgun users, which allows them to sometimes shoot twice in combat, and if not, shoot and then reload so that they're ready for the next round of combat. You'll see at the end of all of this, we do still have 1 extra attribute point remaining. I would choose to put it in Charisma. You really do have a lot of flexibility with this character, and you can sort of get them on the path of making them a more versatile fighter by increasing their speed, awareness, or coordination instead. I'll leave that up to you. Finally, our high value in speed gives us a 2.2 combat speed, which is effectively how many squares you get to move for every action point. This is a really high number and will allow a lot of repositioning for this character. This will be our medic guy. Now we're going to create our 2 really fun characters. We've already created characters with the skills that we really need. So this person will be completely devoted to assault rifles and 1 other skill. With this person, I'm going to take computer science. There's not a lot of computer science checks that you're going to find in your first 1 level of the game. So you're safe taking 4 assault rifles here and 1 computer science, again, to make your bullets more effective. Now the rest of this character is devoted purely to just blowing things up. We take a 10 speed. This will allow the character to move around, reposition, get more action points, and have a higher combat initiative. We'll take strength up to just level 3. We don't really need a high strength. It does help you increase the some of the armor you can get kind of in that early to mid game. But you're going to kill things so quickly, you're honestly not going to need armor that much. So a 7 for our awareness gets us to the 17 combat initiative that we want to hit. And this character is pretty much going to go 2 times for every other character's 1 time. Every other round or so, that won't be true. But this character is going to act so frequently in combat, they're going to obliterate everything. Because they're using the most powerful weapon in the game, assault rifles, and they're going more frequently than anyone else. Finally, we're going to up their coordination here to 4, and this gets us to 8 action points. 8 action points is a good sweet spot for assault rifles. It lets you use burst fire as well as your normal fire to kind of maximize your damage, as well as letting you reposition, which you probably will want to do occasionally with this character. Again, you have 1 skill point left over with this person. I'm going to put it in Charisma. I do like to just level up quickly. So this is assault rifle, comp sci. We'll randomize this character. He looks lovely, of course. I don't make any ugly ragers. So this character is going to be a near identical replica of the previous character we made. We'll have 4 assault rifles, and they'll take 1 point in save cracking, which is the last major skill that we haven't taken with anybody in our party. Their attributes will be identical: 4 coordination, 1 luck, 7 in awareness, 1 intelligence, 2 charisma, 3 strength, and 10 speed. So between this guy and that girl that we just made, these characters will do insane amounts of damage. You'll leave all the combat to them. Your life will be super easy. You'll say, "Thank you, Donkey World. My life in the Wasteland is not so wasteful after all." Hello, assault rifles. Looks like a G.I. Joe character. So this gives you a great base for both combat and out of combat. Now I know some of you are going to want to take melee. So let's go over what you might do in that instance. I would replace one of your assault rifles with one of your melee characters. So for melee, we're going to change things a little bit here. We're going to have 2 coordination, 1 luck, 7 awareness, 6 strength, 10 speed, and 1 intelligence, 1 charisma. So the reason you choose these attributes as such is so that you can have 8 action points because of the cost of using melee weapons, have 17 action points and max speed, which will allow you to act frequently and move fast enough to reposition where your melee guys won't get killed, as well as allow them to go after prime targets. For your weapon, you'll either select blunt weapons or brawling. Blades suck. Blunt is better against armor targets later in the game, but brawling is effective pretty much throughout the game. A big advantage of melee weapons is that they don't require expensive bullets, which saves you money for explosives which do a ton of damage to enemy groups and don't require any skill points to be effective. In fact, you'll find explosives almost necessary for a couple of the game's toughest fights. More big booms is always a good thing. So, that will wrap everything up. This is a perfect ranger party, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. This is Donkey World once again. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.